Alright, it's time to talk about the new waifu, that is basically the new side boob queen, aka Brid, the new Christmas out, basically, right? So let's talk a little bit about what's going on with her damage numbers, if it's worth pulling for her or not. Obviously, right? Obviously, just based on the assets, I think it's worth pulling. It's a nice side boob, nice ass as well in there, as you can appreciate. Which means, in my opinion, it's gonna be at least a T2. I feel it's nice shape and jiggle as well, right? I feel it can be a good T2 contender, maybe a T3, but we'll see that when we test a little bit more, when we compare a little bit more. That said, jiggles aside, let's talk about meta and if it's worth pulling for her. As usual, before we start, hello degenerates, welcome back to Waifus. I'm Sefhi, your favorite gambling addict, and today's topic, Brid first impressions. Remember, first impressions are not to be taken as a final review. They are not. This is just, as usual, quick, dirty testing on Union range. TLDR, if you don't want to watch the whole video, it's worth getting a copy for raids, no more than a copy. And if you don't care about raids, it's an easy skip. Now, when it comes to tower and campaign, she could still be used. This is basically HELM Aquamarine for fire content. In fact, we got better results using Brid as an off burst for the damage taken rather than a burst character on some team compositions. Where she shines, however, it's on sustained teams because of her kit and also on the shotgun team. So her skills are pretty simple, okay? It's literally damage taken, attack buff, nothing else. Her damage is not that impressive. Her damage is not that great, and we'll show some damage comparisons. This is a 3 elemental, 3 attack Brid, skills level 10 using a resilience cube with a phase 5 SR doll. So pretty decent investment. It's not like the best, but it's still pretty good. Also bond level rank 10. And her biggest problem is that outside shotgun teams, because of Dove, she deals no damage, or at least her damage is pretty lackluster in contrast to running other characters. And if you are not running her on a shotgun team, right, the only real option is going to be as a main B2 burst to be running her on something like, for example, Mihara and Diesel for the sustained damage. And in that case, she actually works pretty well. Running Crown versus running Brid on a basic setup with Little Mermaid and Helm, we're getting a 5.3 on Diesel, doing better with Brid at 6 billion. And doing 7.8 on Mihara, doing 7.4 on Brid. So once again, for fire content specifically, unsustained characters is a great buffer, really good. And if you put another buffer instead, so let's say instead of Little Mermaid, you are running, actually you can keep Little Mermaid and put instead Mask rather than Helm, so you can get even more attack buffs for your characters every third burst, and that would be an even better increase for the synergy with Siren. Right, something like that. But attack buffers and the sustain will play really well together here. If you don't have Diesel, then loses some value because it's not an improvement putting Mihara here over anything else. This team would be mostly if you have both Diesel and Mihara, so you can take advantage of the sustained damage. This is the first composition we get that actually has decent sustained damage, right? And then the other thing we were testing, and this is where we got the best score so far, an increase of like 2 or 3 billion versus the previous best, is running her as an off burst. So just like you would be running Summer Helm, you just running her for the damage taken when it's wind code enemies on skill 1 and skill 2. And in that way, she is really strong as well. She is improving the damage of any fire DPS. You do not have to be bursting with her if you don't want to, but obviously, even if you decided to burst with her, you're still getting 66% attack, which is still on neutral decent damage. So if we compare a normal win team running Siren, SBS, Asuka, we were not running here Liberalia, but still Helm, 4.5 and 5.6. Into just running Brid, bursting with her for the attack damage, 4.6, SBS loses a lot for removing 8, obviously, but Asuka still remains pretty similar damage, 4.5, 4.3 bill. So even on neutral content, you could be getting her for the attack buff, but we have so many good B2 buffers that it's a little bit hard justifying pulling for her just because of that, right? You have your aid, you have your grave, the mates, now you attack ground, even Naga still is relevant, Mari, Blank. None of these people are even using Trina and Grass as normal buffers, so it's really hard justifying pulling for her. If you only care about getting a B2, you can burst with a neutral content. For fire, is really good. And if you want to make her a DPS, there is only one real option, and that's the shotgun team. And the only reason she can become a DPS is not even because her damage would be good otherwise, it's because Toph is broken. Toph is a character that no matter what shotgun you put, he will make them do really good damage. And we saw this with Solene already. Solene was doing decent damage with Toph as well. When the enemies are weak to water, Solene can actually deal decent damage. And Solene's kit is fucking awful. It's like really fucking bad, right? So we're talking about a character that any shotgun you put in here will be great. When we talk about Fire Wig, she is actually pretty good here. But you are still doing less damage than if you decide to put Grave. Just for the extra pierce damage Dorothy would be getting. Now, overall damage would be higher running Brid rather than Grave because it balances out since she's also making Drake do more damage than everyone else for the damage taken. But it's still an incredible upgrade, right? And outside of actually running it for enemies that are weak to fire, you would never run Brid as your B2 on most raids, considering you have Grave instead, right? But for fire content, it's an actual option, viable as well. Like I was saying at the beginning of the video, honestly, I don't think it's worth getting her unless you care about elemental content. Because even if we're talking about tower and campaign, there are situations where you'll be able to use her. If we're talking about Elysian Tower, you can still be buffing your Rappi, you can still be buffing Diesel in Tower, you can still be buffing the new tactical upgrade characters. I don't think this account has Bestie, but you can still be buffing basically a few really good DPSs, but that's only when it's weak to fire. If it's not weak to fire, it's not worth bringing her into campaign nor Tower. That said, honestly, TLDR, because I don't want to be spending here too long. You care about raids, get a copy. You do not care about raids, you can completely skip her. Nikke has gotten to a point where I feel balance in new characters is decent. I'm not saying it's the best game, balance in units, but we've gotten to a point where new players can just pull for limiteds and pilgrims and they are absolutely fine. They're not missing much. And even characters that are supposed to be useless like Solene still have a niche that is clear, which is going to be shotgun teams thanks to her CDR. So pretty happy, once again, another character that at least is useful and is not gonna be going into the trash bin anytime soon. If you can only pull for one of the characters, I do think Diesel has more value and we have other attack buffers as well. The good thing about Diesel is that when you are bursting with her, she is doing damage taken regardless of the element, which is a little bit better than just when it's about fire weak characters, right? But enough jumping, enough ranting, that's gonna be basically everything for this video. Go grab a copy if you care about raids, go grab a copy if you care about having the best side boob in the game. I got MLB myself, pretty lucky with my pulls after spending some money. I'm giving some money to Shift Up for Christmas because they deserve it. Enough said though, we're live every day, link in the description down below. As usual, love you all bastards, good luck with your pool, the rates, and I'll see you on the next one.